There are two different ways to release the club through the impact area. There is to turn it through or to stop and hit. Okay, so if you was to turn it through or to stop and hit, boom. Now there are pluses and minuses to both. So turning it through is a much more constant passive movement. Okay, so it's not going to encourage club head speed that much, because you're not hitting, you're not peaking, you're just rotating it through. Yes, the club will release, the hands will come out, you'll get plenty of speed, but it's not optimized for speed. The stop and hit, which I see as a swing method called rotary swing, where they talk about this quite a lot, is much more volatile. Okay, so if you're literally stopping your turn or shifting and stopping and then transferring that energy into the golf ball and hitting it, can get you more power, can get you more speed, because you've got a full energy transfer from weight shift to ball, boom. So yes, it can gain you distance, but it can also cost you massively in your cast. Now you can try and make it so that you're making sure that your hands do get past the ball before the club reaches its maximum release point, so that it is fairly stable and fairly, you're not passive, but you're not completely crossing the club head over at the moment of hitting the ball. So you still get your downward strike and you still, stop the club from having turned over. And it can work really well. You can get a lot of club head speed, that's fine. But as I say, it's a volatile movement, so it's not optimal for your cast. It's certainly not a way you should look to hit a golf ball when you're first starting out. You want to try and be passive and controlled, and you'll find that vast majority of tour professionals just turn through the shot. There aren't many that stop and hit. Long drive champions, however, complete other way around. They stop and hit. They don't just stop and hit, they use the ground for leverage. They might squat and then almost sort of jump off the ground because they hit it so hard. They're using the ground for leverage, they're pushing up and they're firing everything, and that is stopping and hitting. And yes, they're turning as well. So it's not like it's a stop, completely stop. They are still moving, but it's a bigger energy transfer. It's a bigger crossover. You're going from movement to almost stopping for a second while the arms take over and then finishing the swing, rather than, as I say, more of a passive, just turn it through and being constant with your movement. And just it's pretty straightforward really. If you're rotating through and you're constant with your movement, you're going to be more consistent. If you're having a bigger energy transfer and you're really stopping and firing, or it's not so much necessarily stopping, but stalling, to then get a better energy transfer into the golf ball, you're going to get more distance. But like I say, it's more volatile, but it's something you can experiment with and see what you get on best with if you're already very well established and playing good golf. If you're extreme on one side or the other already and you're not happy with your golf, then it might not be a bad idea to experiment with the other end. So if you're already stopping and hitting a lot and you're very inconsistent, very wayward, it might be an idea to practice rotating through impact a bit more with more of a constant movement. Whereas if you're very consistent but you don't get any yardage, it might not be a bad idea to practice a bit of stop and hit to try and build some more speed and get a bit more club head speed in there, so that you can end up with a kind of happy medium, getting some good yardage but also consistent sort of middle ground, which I think is where most people generally would want to be at the end of the day.